Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where today's show, Authentic Achievements, I'm delighted to be joined by founder, chief listening officer, and friend, who is part of the reason why we're here on USA Global TV and Radio, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, who founded this community and is going to come on and talk to us in more detail about the journey to here and the journey from here. So without further ado, here is my good friend, Dr. Jacalyn.
Hello, how are you?
I'm so good and so looking forward to this, because so often you're doing everything else, aren't you? You're hosting, you're producing, you're directing the rest of us on where to go. But it's such a privilege for me to be able to spend this time with you, sharing with our audience more about you and what you're doing and the great impact that you're having on the world. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm so excited that we met in person, and we'll be meeting in person again very soon. It's such a beautiful community that we have. Everybody is so giving and welcoming, and I just love spending time with you and your beautiful daughter. It was a real gift.
Oh, thank you. And we felt exactly the same. And Scarlett is so excited to be seeing you again when you come back later this year. And we've just been to London, and we were very much reminded of our recent meeting in person, which was beautiful, but also felt so strange because it felt like we've known each other for so long. And yet that was the first time that we've actually physically met, hasn't it? And I think it kind of brought me to some of what we'd like to talk about today, which is there's a real belief that we can't connect properly through these kind of mediums because we miss out on so many triggers, so many parts of body language and nuances. And yet through the work that you do with elevated listening, we're actually proof that that's not true. If we're really present and we're really listening to the other person, we can make a connection whether or not we're face to face or whether or not we're virtual. And so I'd really love to dig into more of that. I'm very grateful to have been on your elevated listening courses. But can you tell us a little bit more about what is elevated listening and why is it so important?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking that. People will say, what does elevated mean? Is it I'm standing over you? What does it mean in terms of, is it something to do with height or the volume of the listening? And the answer is no. It's basically listening without judgment. It's a huge one. Without problem solving, without stage hogging, and without interruption. And part of that is setting boundaries and asking permission. So when you give the gift of listening and you're fully present, even in your mind, you might be looking directly at someone, but the whole time you're thinking something else. Maybe you're looking at me right now and thinking something about the way I look or the way I sound or something about my background, and you're not truly paying attention to what's coming out of my mouth, my words. And so when that happens, you've already decided that you're not interested in what it is that I have to say or what someone else has to say. So I teach people to be fully present and give the gift of listening for a certain amount of time. So you set a boundary. I can be fully present for you for the next hour, or I can't do it right now, but I can do it tomorrow at 3:00. And so that's the basic premise of elevated listening.
I love that, Dr. Jacalyn. It makes me think, for years, I've often thought one of the things that drives us to not fully listen is that we're all afraid of the silence. So we know in typical speaking that when you stop talking, I'm expected to start talking. And that fear drives us to stop listening because we're too busy formulating, what am I going to say when you stop talking? And yet actually what you're really asking people to do is listen to understand, not to interject. So to almost get comfortable with that silence and go, doesn't matter if there's a momentary pause when you've finished while I formulate what I'm going to say as a result of what I've heard, because I was fully present. And for me, that was one of the great lessons. It was taking away the fact that I could give myself permission to really listen and to allow an element of silence whilst I formulated my thinking around what I'd heard. Is that something that you see come up a lot in the people that you've been supporting through this journey?
Absolutely. And I really like what you shared, and I'd like to add on to it by saying that I think I'd like to hone it even more in a little bit more, which is being open to understanding, because many times we do not understand the perspective of another person. And that sometimes is where judgment comes in. So you might be open, a person might be open to having a conversation and listening, but they really don't understand your perspective. And therefore they just shut down. You might not know they shut down, but to your point about body language, a lot of times we can tell by a person's body language. So what I teach people in the elevated listening community is to being open to understanding another's perspective.
I love that, because it's true. I mean, I do a lot of work on kind of conflict management. And the thing I see all of the time is whenever you are in conflict, you're both having a very different conversation because neither one of you is listening to the other person. You're instead frustrated with why you're not being heard. And so when you become open to first understand the other person's perspective, what are they seeing? What are they hoping to be heard on before you layer in what you're hoping to be heard on? You open up the opportunity for true understanding and a collaborative way forward, don't you?
Absolutely. Yes, you do. And I think that's also where setting boundaries and asking permission comes into play. So you might know someone who has a certain perspective about something, and then they call you on the phone, or you're going to see them at a family gathering, an event, and you think, oh no, please, I hope that he or she does not come up to me and start talking about X again, because we already know how they feel about X. So that's when I teach people in advance to set a boundary and ask permission. KIM-ADELE, I know I've talked to you before about the way I feel about X. I have something additional to share with you. Would you have time now to listen to it? And this way, you have an opportunity to say, you know what, thank you, but I don't have the time right now. And you might not even offer another time because maybe you have been open to understanding and you've made a decision that you feel a certain way and you don't want to have conversation about it anymore, but you had already given them the time earlier or another time.
I love that. And that's so, again, such a useful skill. I've never been very good at setting boundaries. And so would be dreadful for when somebody came over and needed to talk to me, immediately feeling I needed to give them that time. And I remember, and it really reflected on this when I was in the session with you. I remember many years ago, looking after a young, an up and coming team leader. And we had to do this feedback thing. And during the feedback, you had to write one thing you thought the person did well and one thing that you wish they didn't do. And then you had to sign your name. And at the end, you got this big sheet of paper with things you did well and things you didn't do well. And this lady had written, the thing I did really well, really helpful, would always go the extra mile to ensure she was okay. thing I didn't do very well. Wasn't always sure I was listening. And my initial response was, oh, how rude. Oh, of course I'm always listening. Immediately followed by that recognition that, oh my goodness, no, I don't. And I remember going over to see her, and she went, oh, you're really cross with me. And I said, I'm not. I need to explain to you what's happening. I said, sometimes when you come over, I really need to finish what I'm doing because it's for a customer or it's for somebody else that I'm helping. But because you're new, I feel like I should immediately be there for you. So instead of saying, could you just give me 2 minutes while I finish this? I look at you and my brain is still thinking about what it is that I need to do. And I'm so grateful to you for bringing that to my attention. So moving forward, I'm going to say to you, could you just bear with me 2 minutes? And if you find that I'm not doing that, just say, Kim, are you listening? And it completely changed our way of working. But I needed somebody to bring it to my attention because I hadn't been doing it intentionally. I'd been doing it unconsciously because my desire was to help her, but my desire was also to support the other people that I was working with. So that knowledge of intentionally setting boundaries and seeking permission has been such an important one to learn. Is that, again, something that you hear a lot from the people that you work with on elevated listening?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think most people want to be fully present and helping other people. And at the same time, people want to be solving problems for people because they feel like that is a gift too, that, oh, if I can help you solve your problem, if I can help you be happier. But the truth is, we can't even solve our own problems, let alone trying to solve other people's problems. And when we start offering ideas and solutions that no one asked for, sometimes it can be really frustrating because you genuinely just want someone to listen. And I know for me, since I started doing the elevated listening training, it is very rare, if ever, I will answer a phone call unless someone has reached out to me in advance to tell me that they want to speak with me about something. And the reason being, and we've all done this, we all do this. You take a phone call and you're in the middle of doing something else and maybe you're typing. How many times are we actually on the computer typing? Someone calls me, oh, okay. But you cannot pay attention to what they're saying. And by the way, they can hear the clicking and the typing that you're doing. So they know that you're not fully present.
It's so true. I must admit, I'm similar since doing the course, with one exception. I always glance first to make sure it's not my little girl's school, because they never ring for anything other than an emergency. So that is the one where it's like that I need to take. But it's being more intentional with that. It's going, okay, there's a good reason why I've made that exception. But for everything else, as you said, actually going, am I going to be truly present? Or am I going to be distracted? And is that going to make the person feel heard? Or would they actually rather I'd not answer until I was in a position where I was able to listen to them and to your point, not necessarily solve their problems? Unless they've said, could you help me understand how we might resolve this? Then don't work on the assumption they want you to solve it for them. But sometimes just to hold the space. You know, I have a good friend who often rings me and says, do me a favor, Kim, put the phone on speakerphone and go and do something else for 5 minutes while I rant and then come back to me. And whilst I never do, I'm always there listening. I know what she means is she doesn't want a resolution. She doesn't want the problem solved. She's not in that place yet. What she wants to be able to do is let the emotion out, feel however she's going to feel in that moment. And sometimes that's all she needs. She'll move on. Sometimes once she's gone through all of that, she wants you to listen and hold the space for her while she problem solves for herself, which again is something I know you teach on elevated listening, but it's something that it takes intentional skill, doesn't it, to not leap in there and solve it for people.
Absolutely. You're spot on with that. And I think just as humans, as Dr. Chan would say, the human collective, I think generally we mean well. Not everyone, obviously, but I think generally we want to help people. And one of the most important things is giving someone the space to be able to share. And I love what you just told us about your friends. And I've actually done that sometimes. What I found is, since I spend so much time alone, when I'm actually with someone in person and they give me the opportunity to share, I just start blithering on, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how much I had locked up inside about this, that, or the other. And then I'll quickly turn it over to them so that they can share. But I think we all have a need that we want to feel safe when we're speaking and sharing something.
I totally agree. I think for me, I've always thought at our base, we want to feel listened to, we want to feel understood, and we want to feel respected. And that doesn't mean to say we can't ever disagree, but we can disagree, we don't disrespect. And I think it's, when somebody does that for you, when somebody really listens to understand, even if they have a different viewpoint, as a good friend of mine said, true listening is an act of love, because you have to put the other person ahead of you for that time while you're listening, because them and their story and what they're going through is the most important thing. And when someone's done that for you, and I invite everybody to just think for a moment, when was the last time you felt genuinely listened to? How did that feel? And imagine that that's the gift that you can choose to give everybody that you are willing to listen to. And that's kind of leads me in, Dr. Jacalyn. I know we're just about to get the second edition of your book. Could you tell us more about that, please?
Absolutely. Thank you. I actually have it here. The copies were delivered just a few days ago. This is Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening, Solutions for Deeper Connections, Better Relationships, and More Authentic Conversations. And this is the second edition of the book by the same name. And part of the reason why there's a second edition is I met with someone who is also an author. She has extensive experience. She's been on Oprah, Merv Griffin, all these other programs about a doctoral dissertation that she wrote. And she went on to Amazon and saw my book, and she asked me if I was open to feedback. And I said yes. And she gave me some really good feedback and some things, that editors miss. And it's kind of like, wow, that's unbelievable. I've signed all these copies. So came up with a new cover. I like the idea of having the ear on there. I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
I love that, because it really is that element of it draws it in. It allows you to really understand what it is that we're going to be doing. We're going to be listening. We're going to be utilizing a natural skill. And often the natural skills, the things that comes to us for free, are the things that we undervalue. We put so much value on things we can buy, whereas the things that are truly important, the things where, no matter how much money we had on our deathbed, which levels us all, we're not going to say, I wish I spent more. But we might say, I wish I'd listened more. I wish I'd heard more. I wish I'd been present more. And so I love the fact that you're kind of drawing us into really understanding that, we came with the ability to listen. That doesn't mean to say that we are actively utilizing it as the gift it really is.
Spot on. Absolutely. So with the book, I also decided to take our elevated listening community to a new level. So we have hundreds and hundreds of people across the world who are certified as elevated listeners. And it's funny, when I went back to look when the first person was certified, I thought, oh my gosh, I forgot that they were certified. There's just been so many people. So we have a website, which is theelevatedlisteners.com. We've had it for a while, but it's been revamped now. And I'm doing a lot of work as a peace ambassador in terms of training and just getting more education. I just was at a peace conference in Minneapolis in the States over the weekend. I think on Thursday, actually. I got back on Sunday. So I'm incorporating those trainings into the elevated listening community.
I love that. I'd love to learn more about what is a peace ambassador, because I know a little bit about it from our conversations, but for the people listening and watching, that might be new news to them. So can you tell us more about what that is?
Absolutely. I actually have this graphic that I want to share with everyone. So I'm a peace ambassador with World Citizen Peace. And we just had a peace conference with the Minnesota Reading Association. And it was really fascinating. I'm going to take this down for a moment, but it was really fascinating to find out about how the teachers, the educators have been impacted by some of the current administration in the United States, the measures that they've taken, and to hear it firsthand. So how do you keep peace when you're so angry that your funding's been cut, for example, or that your budget's been completely wiped out, or that you're trying to bring education to children? So they have 5 basic peace actions that anyone and everyone can strive to do. Anyone can be a peace ambassador. And I'm going to go through that a little bit off their website. Anyone can be a peace ambassador. So whether you officially sign up to be a peace ambassador, basically you're empowering people. We want to have a peaceful world. And listening at an elevated level also means finding inner peace. So here are 5 peace actions that I would ask each and every one of us to consider. The first is to seek peace within yourself and others. Be peaceful, finding inner peace. Reach out in service, giving back, helping others, lending a hand, protecting the environment. One day we won't be here anymore. What are we leaving for the generations after us? Respect diversity. Learn about other cultures. Travel to other places in the world. Understand how people in other parts of the world are doing things and see things. And be a responsible citizen of the world. And I really would just like people to think it's not just you. You're one person, but we're the human collective. We're here to take care of one another, to take care of our planet, to leave it better than it is today for our future generations. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it does. I love that, because they're all things that you can do. And it reminds me of a part that's in a book written by Florence Scovel Shine. And she talks in it about a monastery. I think it's in India. And all of the monks there, they don't actually say good morning. And whenever they greet another person, they say, I salute the divinity in you, because they choose to look for the divinity in everybody they see and everything that they see. And therefore, despite the fact this monastery is surrounded by wild animals that would normally attack, no member has ever been attacked, because they are looking always for the good in people. And I think for me, I've certainly taken that on board. So whenever I know I'm going into a difficult situation, I start by looking for the divinity in the other person. And it makes the conversation go so much smoother, because instead of looking for the areas of conflict, I'm looking for the areas of collaboration.
I love that, with the collaboration. And just to say to anyone out there who's watching live, most of our audience doesn't watch live, but if you are out there watching live and you can drop a peace signal or the prayer hands into the comments, we would love that. And I just wanted to share, on Saturday, I was on a 6 a.m. flight. I was supposed to be on a 6 a.m. flight, which I knew when I booked it, I didn't want to go on a 6 a.m. flight because I don't want to get up at 3 something in the morning. Anyway, I just had a feeling that something was going to happen with the flight. And of course it did. It was delayed 5 times. Then by 5 p.m., they finally canceled it. But I thought about the parents who were there with these children. And, as a mother, the children, some of them were in their pajamas and, thinking they were going to get from point A to point B quickly. And instead, it's the entire day there at the airport. So I had my new book with me, my new children's book. And I'm just going to spotlight for a moment. It's Lady Ella and Lord Jack's Kindness Adventure, spreading kindness one adventure at a time. And so I just decided to walk over to some families and just give them the book. So many times I just give my books away, and people will say to me, is there something wrong with you? Like, it costs you money to have the book published. And I said, no, because I want to make a difference in someone's life. So if reading this book to their children who are at the airport, they've already read everything that they have already. If this can bring peace and calm to someone, then to me, that is worth a lot more than whatever it is I'm making off the book, which, by the way, is a very small amount of money. It might be $5.
I love that, because I think it is. We often get stuck in kind of why are we doing this? And actually, I've always thought with lots of things. I remember getting over the fear of first coming on and speaking to people, and went, actually, if what I say helps just one person, just one, then it's worth trying. It's worth getting over that fear. It's worth being able to give to somebody else to make their life better, if you can. And I think wherever we go, and I try and say this, as you know, with Scarly. It's like, if we can leave everywhere slightly better than we found it, and if we can treat everybody with kindness, including ourselves, then actually that's all we can really do in the world, is try and be the kindest we can be to self and others. And what we put out into the world is what we get back, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I want to thank you for sharing that. And I want to say hello to Louise Goforth, FCIPD. Prayer hands, thank you. Great hearing all these wonderful insights live. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So there's one person who is out there and is willing to say, you know what, I'm listening and I'm getting something from this. So really appreciate you for that. We also have Duchess Latia Antoinette Kapuscinska. I hope that I said that right. Thank you for being with us as well. So KIM-ADELE, one thing I would like to share is that anyone can be a peace ambassador. I said that already. I want to bring up the website, which is worldcitizenpeace.org. And it's kind of interesting. One of our team members, Dr. Madeline Chan, she told me that I was meant to be a peace ambassador. She's over there in London. And I thought, I don't know what she's talking about. I really don't even know what a peace ambassador is, but I'm sure I'm not qualified to be a peace ambassador. But you know what? I went and applied, and I found out, very quickly they were interested in having me. Then they invited me to the conference. I went there, and I went as a vendor to support them. And so anyone can be a peace ambassador. And why is it important? It's important because if you and I take the time to do these 5 steps to reach out and tell other people about it, then we're going to be getting somewhere in terms of more people understanding what they can do to be peaceful and live peaceful lives. So this is the website, worldcitizenpeace.org. It's in the show notes. Please come over here and consider becoming a peace ambassador yourself, and also consider donating. This is the conference I just went to, Peace and Literacy. And Kay Kalia Yang, she was the keynote speaker. She is a refugee. She and her family escaped from where they were and made it out. And she wrote many books, but the one that she did the keynote on was The Rock in My Throat. And she's now going to come on and be a guest on a number of our shows, sharing her story. So you just never know where things are going to go, who you're going to connect with.
I love that. And I love that actually, like so many people that are educating, they're taking their lived experience and they're sharing it to help other people who may be facing a similar lived experience, or maybe facing something completely different. But I think what happens when you find that peace within yourself to be able to then look for the peace in others is you create that ripple effect of hope, don't you, that allows people to cling on to that, because the only thing greater than fear is hope. And I think often the world can feel like it's pulled in more from the fear. I mean, you said yourself, when Dr. Madeline first said you should be a peace ambassador, your initial response was, no, I don't think I'm qualified for that. And how often do we think that? How often do we think, even when somebody suggests something to us, tells us that they see something in us that we can't see, how often do we find ourselves leaping in with a dismissive, well, no, I don't think so. And what I love about you, Dr. Jacalyn, is you don't allow it to stay there. You go, okay, I might not be qualified, but I'll look further. I'll take action. I'll borrow their insight. So how do you do that? How do you take that leap from going, I'm not sure I'm qualified, to going, but I'll check it out?
Because I'm very curious. I really want to learn. And as a result of saying yes, first of all, anyone can go and apply and they're going to take you. So you can then say, I'm a peace ambassador, but you don't get any title. So some people might do it for egotistical reasons. There are people out there going, let me have another thing next to my name. But you don't get any designation as a peace ambassador. There's no award. There's no plaque that's coming. So it's basically about how much into this do you want to invest your time and effort. And so for me, I decided, let me go to the conference. The conference costs me money. It costs money to go to Minneapolis. It costs money for the Airbnb and then to go to the conference, et cetera. But the value that I got from it, the people I met by doing it, the relationships that are coming as a result of that. I've introduced you and a few other people to someone I spoke to last night who was referred to by someone who was at the conference, who was referred to by someone else. It's amazing. So in addition to that, I'm also taking training from another peace organization called PEPNET, PEPNET. And it's every Saturday for a number of weeks, and it's for 3 hours. So it's a big commitment. And people have said to me, what do you mean during the summer on a Saturday, you're taking training from 11 to 2? And that's Eastern time, because many of the people who are with the committee are in Africa. So it's at a certain time for them in different parts of the world where everybody can join. And today I got something from another entity, another peace organization, and I signed up for their collaborative training, and that starts in September. So I'll be doing Saturdays and Wednesdays. So I think anyone can get involved. How much you want to get involved is up to you, but I think it would be very easy for people to start with these 5 peace actions. And by the way, I have a number of cards, peace cards, if people are interested, that at least start out with seeking peace within yourself. And to me, that's elevated listening.
I love that, because the journey always starts within, and yet we spend so much of our life looking for it without. And we look around us waiting for all these things to fall into place. And actually, we have to go inward first to understand what are the things that are no longer serving us, and how do we change those? How do we rewrite them to be something that does serve us, so that we can truly listen, because we are no longer having those 2 dialogues, the one we're having externally with the world and the one we're having internally with ourselves, in that fear of being found out or wanting to discuss just our view of the world. And that, I guess, brings us to the elevated listening community. And I know that you've got more that you're looking to do. I'd love to talk more about the chaos to calm, and particularly the retreats now that are coming soon. So can you bring that to life for us, please?
Yes, I'd be happy to. We have a community of people who are certified as elevated listeners. KIM-ADELE is one. And that means that this person took the time to take one of my courses. If you're part of our team at USA Global TV and Radio, it's required that you take 2 courses every year. And I say to people, it's not a punishment. It's to keep your skills honed. And by the way, it's not a huge investment. I mean, it's not hundreds of dollars. It's typically $49 or $59 to take the course. And then you get a certificate, which you can use on your LinkedIn. You can print it out. You can use it as a business reference. You know what? I actually take the time to listen. Look at this. I'm investing in my personal and professional development. So what I've come up with is a community, a way for people to share information and collaborate as entrepreneurs and business owners. And I'll also be sharing some of what I've learned through my training as a peace ambassador. And of course, there's more training coming up: conflict resolution, sign language, how to deal with violence when you're in a situation where it's violence. How can you talk to people and get them to calm down and find peace? So what I'm going to share now is the website for this new community, in terms of it's a new place for the community. And basically what we're looking at is going from chaos to calm. And so when you join the elevated listeners, you're getting tools and training and a global community. So the website is theelevatedlisteners.com. And as I mentioned, this domain name, this website is not new, but it's been completely redone. And so what you'll see here are a number of places where people can get information, and then also what we do, our approach, and how people can go from being in a place of chaos to a place of calm. So we are hosting a retreat, and that is Mr. Philip Sykes and myself. The retreat is actually going to be in New Jersey. It's in the United States, and it takes place in a location that is convenient for people who are in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Delaware. And what I really want to share about this is, from chaos to calm, managing relationships and finding inner peace, is that there are a lot of options for people. So you'll see here from 223.83 US. Well, you can be in for the full agenda, or you can just take parts of it. You can decide, oh, I just want to do this, I just want to do that. So basically, what we have are the following opportunities. And let me go back up to where it's taking place at the Chimney Hill Estate Inn in Lambertville, September 18th and 19th. So Chaos to Calm retreat includes the following. People can have a spa session, which includes a cold plunge, jacuzzi, as well as a sauna. And then I'll be teaching my course, Setting Boundaries. But this time when I teach it, I'm going to be involving a lot of what I'm learning from the Peace Foundation so that we're truly closer to true peace as opposed to just inner peace. And then after that, we'll have a power networking session. And from there, we'll have a dinner with a private chef. And then we'll have networking around the fire pit. So that's day one. And then people can choose to stay over or not. The inn, the estate is beautiful. I've stayed there already once myself. And then the second day, either you drive in or you're staying in, you can come for breakfast if you've stayed over. And then Philip Sykes, Dr. Philip Sykes now is going to be leading us through social etiquette. And then we're going to be transferred off property to the Wallace and Davis Tea Room in Lahaska, Pennsylvania. And we're going to hear the history of tea, and we're going to have afternoon tea. And then the event is concluded. So that's over on Eventbrite. We've dropped the link in the comments, and I'm going to stop there and see if you have any questions.
I love that. I love that actually you're allowing people to tailor that agenda to what they need, because very often when we go on retreats or we think about retreats, the thing that can hold us back is we go, oh, but I don't think I want that bit or that bit. So actually, very much like in my view, elevated listening is allowing the person you're listening to be the one that's in control of where things are going, because you are just listening. You're there to hold a safe space for them. And actually, you've taken that principle into the retreat, which is like they're gonna lead almost how that pulls together for them, because they can pick out the parts that really speak to them, that they go, oh, I like that bit. I'm not so sure on the other. And I'm a British person. I'd have to say I love the fact you've got afternoon tea in there, because it's one of our pure delights. Even my little girl, who's only 8, loves a good afternoon tea.
Well, I love tea myself. I drink tea every day, passion tea. It doesn't have any caffeine. So it's a beautiful thing. And we thought, why not include it? So I just want to share this before we sign off for today, which is on this website, the Elevated Listeners, people have the opportunity to be featured. And so we have different packages, and I'll get to that in a moment. And then, of course, we have our listening courses, and we're always updating these. And then we have Join Our Team. I'll just go over here for the moment. So these are the packages that we have, and there's different tiers and different offerings. So we've got the elevated member. And by the way, you're a member of the community as well. I forgot about that. You're a member of the elevated member, I believe. So we also have the listening supporter and the featured elevated member and the VIP tier. So anybody can go from one and upgrade to the other. And for the elevated member, we now have a private Facebook group, which was just started yesterday. So anyone like you, Kim, will be invited to join it. And then we'll also have a listening tip from Chaos to Calm. So there's a lot of great reasons to get involved. And if you look through these packages, I'll be coaching people, we'll be holding group sessions, and it'll be really a great opportunity for people to collaborate and also talk about how do we find peace in this world? How do we find peace in our businesses? How do we collaborate instead of compete? So that link is also there in the notes.
Oh, I love that. And I think it's so important that we have, that we have those communities. I know certainly if I go back a number of years to when I first trained as a coach, it was really important that you had a supervisory coach, not because they're better than you, but you need somebody to keep you honest, to keep that reminder of going, why am I speaking now? Because I'm supposed to be listening in those moments. And so I love that with that community, there are those regular tips or hints or reminders, probably more often than not, that go, oh yeah, am I continuing to do that, or have I allowed old bad habits to slip back in? So I think it's about keeping us conscious, isn't it, and intentional about how we move forward with our listening. and with our impact on the people that we listen to.
Absolutely. And, I know we're short on time. So some of the courses that we do, I record and I watch them back later. And what's interesting to me is no one here on the screen right now, but it's interesting to me that people who are elevated listeners are actually not listening and doing other things. And even though they took a course, they took 2 courses, they're not following through on the principles of it. So that's why, to me, if someone wants to be in this community, they need to work on their listening skills, because not only can I tell they're not listening, but other people can tell they're not listening too. Just like right now, if I was doing something else, you could see in my eyes, or you could see that, my head was doing something. And of course, I'm producing the show, so I have to be doing something else, but I'm not searching and looking at anything else at the time. But I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Thank you, KIM-ADELE.
Dr. Jacalyn, it is always a delight to chat to you, my friend. And I'm thrilled to be part of this community and also part of the elevated listening community. And I completely agree. We can always tell if we're truly being listened to. And it really is an act of love. So I highly recommend, if this is an area that you want to get better in, go and have a look. Go and see what's available to learn that elevated listening, to continue to hone and improve the skills that you've already got. And to take a moment's pause every day and ask yourself, when was I listened to today and how did I feel? And understand that that is the gift that you're going to give to others when you listen to them. I hope you found today's show to be as insightful and inspiring as I have. And until next time, take care.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
From the magical world of the amazing adventures of Lady Ella comes a heartwarming new journey filled with kindness, courage, and compassion. Lady Ella, the beloved ladybug and listening mentor, is back, and this time she is not alone. Meet her brave and thoughtful brother, Lord Jack. Together, they take flight on their very first kindness adventure. Along the way, they meet 3 new friends in need: a duck feeling discouraged, a mouse struggling to be understood, and a busy little bee who's completely lost. But with the power of elevated listening and simple acts of kindness, Lady Ella and Lord Jack show us how understanding and empathy can make the biggest difference in someone's day. Written by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the listening mentor, this 9th book in the best-selling Lady Ella series teaches children ages 5 to 10 the essential skills of listening, kindness, and etiquette. Now available for pre-order on Amazon. Scan the QR code and order your copy today.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session. or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.